What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I'm your host, Eric, and today we are going to read from another inspiring post by a friend of mine, a good author. His pen game is redonkulous, and this is just another post that really resonated with me, and I'd like to give it a broader audience. I do this from time to time, especially when it's something inspiring, and I want to share it with you guys. So let's jump in. It's titled Courage Over Fear, a Call to Defiance. Siblings. When the American Revolution began, the odds could not have been worse. Britain commanded the most powerful army in the world. Its soldiers were trained, supplied, and paid. They marched for empire, their wages guaranteed. But here in the colonies, there was no army on payroll. The people who stood up were farmers, printers, shopkeepers, and apprentices. They had families to feed, fields to tend, and nothing promised to them but the risk of death. They chose to fight because submission meant chains. They chose courage over fear. At Lexington and Concord, those first shots were fired not by professionals but by volunteers. They picked up muskets from their homes and walked into the line of fire knowing full well the enemy was stronger. At Valley Forge, they marched barefoot in the snow. No pay, no shoes, no food, just conviction. They endured hunger, frostbite, and despair, yet they pressed on. Victory came not from wages, but from courage. Now look at us today. We inherit the freedom they won. Yet, how do we use it? Too often, we cling to comfort instead of standing for principle. We work longer hours for shrinking paychecks. We drown in student debt, medical bills, and rent that never stops rising. Families ration insulin while pharmaceutical companies celebrate record profits. Communities drink poisoned water while politicians point fingers. Workers are tracked by algorithms in warehouses, punished for pausing too long, and still, too many remain silent. The truth is, the system has learned how to keep people obedient. It gives just enough to survive, but never enough to thrive. It keeps us comfortable enough to stay in line, but never secure enough to challenge the order of things. That is not freedom. That is control. And far too many accept it. Even in the labor movement, this weakness shows. Some union officials boast of small gains as if they were great victories, while refusing to mobilize for the deeper fights. They hand out press releases instead of building strike lines. They polish their own image while members suffer indignities at work. That is not courage. That is fear, dressed up as leadership. And fear has no place in a movement born of defiance. Remember, power punishes resistance. In Gaza, the blockade tightens whenever people resist. Here in America, workers who strike are blacklisted, laid off, or replaced. The message is the same. Accept the crumbs, stay quiet, and be grateful. But we cannot be a movement of the obedient. We must be a movement of the defiant. The lesson of the revolution is clear. Ordinary people, unpaid and unarmed against empire, brought down the mightiest crown on earth. Not because it was easy, not because they were many, but because they refused to live in chains. Authoritarian acts are not stopped by silence. They are not softened by half measures dressed up as victories. They are defeated only by people who risk comfort, who defy the powerful, who endure the struggle because freedom is worth the price. So let us remember who we are. We are not a people who bow. We are not a people who wait for permission. We are the descendants of those who marched barefoot through the snow for liberty. And if we are to honor their legacy, then we must stand in that same tradition today. Courage over fear. Defiance over submission. That is what freedom requires. That is what the moment demands. And nothing less will do. Whew. Powerful stuff. And once more, I agree wholeheartedly. We have to be courageous in this moment. We've never seen this before. I've never seen this before. This type of movement here at home. This is stuff you read about in global affairs. You don't read about this in the local news. And so we have to dig deep and figure out what it is we want to be. What are we willing to tolerate? What are we willing to succumb to? What are we willing to give up for the convenience of not doing anything? Or will we be courageous? Will we stand on business? My name's Eric. You're watching Union Minded. Remember that the fight is not left. It's not right. It is up and down. It will take solidarity to win always. Each one teach one. Get out there and reach one. And remember that there can be no union without you and I front and center. So let's go. Peace.